share with you how Wendy and Steve ended up together. I like to think that I had some part in this, but I know that God's sovereignty, He used me, but I don't think that they would not be together if I did not have a part. But I'll tell the story and you judge for yourselves. It goes back to about 2 years ago when we're sitting in a cafeteria, and Martha can attest we had some pretty interesting cafeteria conversations. But this time it was Steve, myself, and Wendy. And I don't exactly remember the topic, but Wendy ended up saying something and Steve reacted in his usual sarcastic way. But underneath that, there was actual true feelings. I think what it came down to, Steve said, Wendy, you're just one of the guys. And that devastated Wendy, and I know Steve did not intend to do that. But Wendy started crying, and I was sitting in the cafeteria. I had no idea what to do. I knew there needed to be something done. So I looked at Wendy, and I looked at Steve, and I knew Steve kind of had a feeling what I was going to do, and he did not want me to do this. But I was going to, so to speak, spill the beans about the way Steve was actually feeling. Because Steve had mentioned earlier that he did have true feelings for her, and that basically he was saying how much he was attracted to her. And so I said, Wendy, even though Steve made a sarcastic comment, deep down and said, he really does like you. And I could see Steve in the background saying, Joe, quit it. So, I spilled the beans so that I could save Wendy's feelings. But it ended up, we went to the chapel, the three of us. I was the mediator. We talked for about, I'd say about an hour. Then we went to the South Library because I think we got kicked out of the chapel. It might have been 12:30. So we went to South Lobby, talked there for a little bit longer, and left. And I think the only thing that was resolved was that Steve was in love with Wendy, and Wendy was flattered, but I don't know how she reacted. I do know that the next day, Steve, in his joking manner, but I think at the same time, in all seriousness, said, Wendy, will you go out with me? And her reaction was, are you serious? And he said, yes, and she turned around and walked to her dorm. So I think at that point, she did not know what to think of all this. I think it took her by surprise. But here they are, married, two of my very close friends, and Steve even said, Joe, you're more nervous than me, and I was so excited to be a part of this special day and just to be here for them. I've been very close to them all through college, and they have helped me on many occasions. If you talk to most people, they would think we do nothing but argue, but I think through all those arguments, we have had some wonderful times. I also wanted to share a verse in Ecclesiastes. This is a familiar verse about weddings. It says, a cord of three will not be broken. And I know that Wendy, Steve, they both put God first in their life. So that the cord of three, the relationship with Christ, I know is also the relationship, the center of this relationship. So I have complete confidence that their life together is going to be filled with much happiness, joy, excitement. And I also know that God is definitely going to work through them in a powerful way. So I just want to congratulate you today, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of this day.